Hi, my name is Joseph Parker, WBO champion of the world, and you're watching Sporting Icons.
So a little bit of news for those interested in seeing Alexander Povetkin on the Joshua Parker undercard. And according to Eddie Hearn now, a deal has been made for Alexander Povetkin versus David Price. At the minute, Alexander Povetkin is the mandatory for the WBO and the WBA. So this fight will be for the number one position. So if Povetkin was to win, then it's purely for him about exposure to the UK fans who may not know really who he is. So of course, with the constant reminders that will happen between now and whenever the eventual fight happens, people will now know who Alexander Povetkin is. So they've had like their first glimpse of him if they've never seen him before. But if David Price was to win, then he would become from obscurity, I think it would be fair to say, to becoming the number one challenger for Anthony Joshua or, of course, Joseph Parker. That would be an interesting fairy tale for him, which is probably why he's taken it. He's weighed up the pros and cons for it. He's definitely not going to be the favourite to beat Povetkin. Povetkin is a class operator. Yes, he's been busted before for PEDs on a couple of occasions, but of course he is going through some kind of lawsuit right now, where originally they said that he had to pay out $4.5 million to Deontay Wilder, but apparently he is disputing that, and that's an ongoing case. So Deontay Wilder's still not yet got his $4.5 million. Not exactly sure the details of it all, but either way, I'm sure we'll find out in due course. David Price has had a couple of losses, shall we say. I mean, he's a really nice guy, big, powerful, strong. Trouble is, it was his heart that pretty much gave out, especially after the first Tony Thompson defeat, his very first pro career defeat. He was winning that fight and he got clipped, he went down, and his confidence has taken a hell of a nosedive ever since. He had an immediate rematch with Tony Thompson. In hindsight, it was probably best that he fought a tune-up and then went back in with Tony Thompson at the time. But of course, he did actually drop Tony Thompson in the rematch. But again, he ended up losing heart because Tony Thompson got off the deck. He's since lost to Erkan Tepe. Again, Tony Thompson and Erkan Tepe both failed PED tests. And while I don't believe they actually turned it to a no contest, for me they should have done. But either way, he then had like a little bit of a comeback after contemplating retirement, and then got in there with Christian Hammer. And again, he was winning that fight. He dropped Christian Hammer. Christian Hammer got up, and clearly he was having some kind of flashbacks to Tony Thompson and that, where he thought, oh crap, here we go again. And he got put out by Christian Hammer. So he's had a lot of time off to think about things. Does he want to fight? This kind of thing. So for him to come back, okay, he has had a bit of a tune-up, a return, and he won that one quite comfortably, you could say. But Alexander Povetkin, for me, he has, if you was to take away all the PED kind of stuff, whether it's legit or accusations, whatever it may be, I mean, obviously everyone decides, but he has the best resume currently out of all the heavyweights. He's been in there with the best fighters and beat all of them other than Vladimir Klitschko. And of course, David Price, he's now going to be looking at that fight. And how did Vladimir Klitschko win that fight? Well, he used his size advantage, he used his reach advantage, and leant all over Povetkin. And that's what David Price is probably going to try and do, get in close to him, hug him, put a bit of weight on him, and throw him around like a rag doll, pretty much like Vladimir Klitschko did. But the problem is, he's not the favourite for this fight. Alexander Povetkin is a better boxer. I think that's probably evident on that one. He's more aggressive, and he can take punches. So far, every time that David Price got properly clipped, he went out. So you would probably imagine same kind of scenario, but it's risk and reward for David Price. It really is. And whereas this fight will be announced this week, according to Eddie Hearn, it's a risk reward where David Price needs to think, okay, well, if I really want a world title fight, I need to beat this guy. Maybe now is the right time to get somebody like Alexander Povetkin. In his last fight against Christian Hammer, and I know people have their own versions of this or their own thoughts on how that fight went, but for me, he looked like he'd lost a beat. And maybe now age is starting to get to him, all this kind of thing. So I think David Price has got to go in there with a bit of confidence, knowing or hopefully feeling that Alexander Povetkin might be there for the taking. It's a very good opportunity for him because, like I said, he'll come from obscurity to becoming a title challenger. For me, I would have preferred it if David Price had have started fighting some British level kind of guys. You know, maybe wait for Dave Allen to beat Leroy Thomas on March the 3rd. Go fight Sam Sexton for the British, or maybe try and get in there with Daniel Dubois or Nick Webb or Nathan Gorman or these kind of guys. That's kind of what I believe he should have done. But this is an opportunity. It's a golden opportunity. It's a golden ticket, if you like. So I don't blame him for taking it. It's just that when this fight happens, Alexander Povetkin, I think probably 99% of the boxing public are probably going to say that he's going to knock out David Price, and then that'll be the end of him. So we'll have to wait and see. Stranger things have happened in boxing, so if this fight does happen, of course I'm cheering for David Price, but I'm not too hopeful for him. But we'll have to wait and see. So drop your thoughts below, click thumbs up, subscribe. Catch you next video.